It's set to be live, and so we will get this going this morning. Mr. Greg Arnold won't be with us. He's down with the stomach flu. Steve LeSource should be here relatively shortly. That's the game plan anyway. Otherwise, well, it's you and me.
All right, I'm okay with that. It's a beautiful morning today.
Gorgeous weather. Of course, we got the music of the road crew that always puts us in a great mood to start the day. Joe and Woody and the boys are really something. They're out of Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm really honored that they would do that for me.
How did you meet them?
On the road. They're really professional folks. They've been involved with Crystal Gale and had their own recording studios. Joe has a voiceover productions company. They've been playing for quite a few years together, and they're just really, really nice people, really generous people, and they love Route 66. When they were here in Kingman for the Route 66 International Festival, they wrote a song about Kings of Kingman. Gave it to the city. I don't know what happened there.
I love it. I love the sound of that. It's on your videos, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just so, it's such a nice...
They're extremely nice folks and very professional. Greg couldn't, like say, Greg Garnold could not be with us today. So we brought his, we have his stand-in, his replacement here today, and we'll be asking some questions. He's not quite as colorful and not quite as boisterous.
Not as well dressed.
Not as well dressed as Greg, exactly. Yeah, that's it exactly. Well, Miss Sarah, you have a new undertaking.
Oh my goodness, should we jump right in?
Yeah, you know, we might as well.
Okay, so my husband and I and Riley are taking over Southwest Trading Company. It's a little
On Beale Street.
On Beale Street, and it's really a dream come true for me. Every time I go to a downtown, you know, I'm just thinking of, you know, Jerome or something like that, where you just go to a neat little downtown and you go into a shop. I've always just thought, how did they do this? Like, how did they own this? How is this possible? It's never really felt possible to me, you know, but it's just seems like such a dream. I love talking to people that are from out of town. I love talking about how much I love our town. I love talking about all the wonderful things that are going on here, and I just cannot wait for that to be my living, you know. I know that we're not gonna make it rich. I mean, I don't know, I'm not gonna put that out there, no. But I just know that it'll be something that I can put my creative energy into, and it's for our family. I'm always, and for the whole community, but I do a lot of that, but it's always building up other things, and I'm just so excited that we get to kind of have our own little shop, and it's exciting.
Well, I'm really glad for you taking this on, because your passion and enthusiasm, your excitement and enthusiasm is quite infectious, to say the very least.
Aww.
And I think you're going to do very well there. You know, like I say, it's all part of building a sense of community here. And the downtown district is, it's pretty amazing what is happening here. It's just in the last I'd say 3 years.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's been extremely dramatic.
Yeah, I was just driving down the street the other day, and really every single block is getting cleaned up. And I mean, like events like the Andy Divine Days where it was blocked off, I saw so many families and people with their dogs, and it was just so neat, you know?
It is, and I think that's going to overflow onto Andy Divine, you know, pretty quick. But right now, of course, everything's on Beale. But I feel like this weekend, Leah Burkhart has been pushing for the historic downtown Kingman open house.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I did. I saw that.
That's going to be taking place. We've got a special edition of Chillin' on Beale Saturday night. It's usually the third Saturday of every month, but they moved it to October 7th to coincide with the Craig Parrish's motor tour. Mr. Steve.
Good morning.
Hey.
How you guys doing?
Great.
We're doing fine. We're happy if we had the sense God gave a shiny brown eye.
Very true. Very true.
So, I'm so sad, but I can't be a part of all of these weekends.
Oh no,
stuff.
but you don't need a guy.
There's so much fun things going on this weekend, and I'm actually taking a little yoga teacher training class.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you guys want yoga lessons,
Are you gonna be working with the what is it, North Tree or
True North.
True North?
They're awesome.
Yeah.
I don't have anything lined up.
You're freelancing.
But really it was just kind of for my own personal practice and to share with some of my elderly clients. But this open house thing looks so neat. All the businesses are participating in that.
That's a good idea.
I just spilled the beans about.
You already did it?
Yes.
What did it within the first 3 or 4 minutes?
Couldn't wait.
I know, you jumped right in.
Man, okay. So say it again, just for me.
Okay.
So I haven't heard the whole thing.
So, my husband and I are going to take over the Southwest Trading Company.
Okay. Keeping the name?
Yes.
Okay.
With Greg Arnold original sign.
Oh yeah, exactly.
How could I not?
Right.
I love the idea of the trading company too, because there's gonna be a lot of changes in the shop. I've just been super creative about bringing things in that other shops downtown don't have.
Yeah.
So that I can send people to all these other shops and we can just completely cooperate, you know?
Right.
So, but I
That's
love
exciting.
I have a friend that's making beautiful Native American jewelry, and she actually, she's from here, and she does the dancing, and I'm gonna learn more about this story because I want to work with you guys on doing like a little interview with each of the artists.
Good idea.
And sharing what they're making and what their story is, and so I'm not going to tell her story yet. But those kind of things, you know, all different, and of course I'm going to keep the like bohemian Southwest style because that's.
When is this happening? Is it like immediate?
So the 1st, which is Sunday, that's, you know, new lease, new owners, completely new
you have the keys
start.
in the hand,
Yeah, and then, and that's why I'm so sad I can't be a part of this weekend. It's just the timing, so we're not going to open until the 9th.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well that's okay. We've got some great things going on. Like say the 7th, they've moved Chillin' on Beale from the 3rd Saturday to the 7th to coincide with Craig Parrish's motor tour, which is coming in from Michigan. He's out of Lansing, Michigan.
Now, explain what that is, because when I first heard about that, that's how it was told to me. It was just this motor tour. What does that mean?
Well, it's basically a group of, it started out as muscle car enthusiasts driving Route 66, but they're just people who just enjoy their old cars, and Craig Parrish, he organizes tours and trips in Michigan.
Yeah.
And they put together this Route 66 outing, and they used to run all the way to Los Angeles with it, but they've gotten, Los Angeles is so difficult to travel on Route 66, and Kingman has been the Route 66 cruisers, Ken Conway and Gene Kirkham and his group, have been so helpful with these folks. They decided now they end the tour here in Canaan.
Oh, cool.
And that's, how big is that?
About 75 cars.
75 classic cars that are traveling
wow.
so far, yeah.
So plus we'll have Chillum and Beal down there.
Oh
And then
my
we've got the open
gosh.
house.
Which I think is what, about 100 cars or close to?
100 to 200 cars.
Oh my
We've got
gosh.
Ramada Kingman on board. They're doing special room rates if someone books all 3 nights, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night, because Sunday, the Route 66 cruisers are hosting a cruise to Grand Canyon Caverns.
Oh, cool.
And John Doherty, if it's done through the Route 66 cruisers,
McNulty right there.
McNulty,
Yeah,
exactly. $20 for lunch and a caverns tour.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
good. Yeah, and it's good
Oh my
food.
gosh.
And then
Everything's
October,
made from scratch there. All the pies.
pie is so good.
I've heard about this pie.
Yeah, no, it's the real deal. It was the first time ever having a coconut cream pie I had up there, and I was just blown away. It was enormous, first of all, but it was just so good. I mean, it's like you get like a quarter of the pie. It's like your slice. So on top,
Johan.
so on top of all that, then there is the historic military convoys. That's still
When you
planned.
open on the 9th, we'll
Okay.
have a historic military vehicle convoy. They're going to block off Beale Street.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And it's all military vehicles from World War I through the modern era. They're driving Route 66. And Paul DeNublio's been really working hard to put that together.
Yeah.
And they've got participants from literally all over the world, New Zealand, Australia, that are participating in this. And also on November 9th, we've got, Rosie, how are you doing this morning? We've also got Joanne's with us from St. Louis, and all kinds of folks. We also have Gilligan's tours from New Zealand.
Okay.
They will be here on the evening of October 9th as well.
October 9th.
So we have an entire 3 days,
Is October 9th Sunday?
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
or Monday.
Monday, okay, good. I want to make sure I had the right day.
Yeah.
It all runs together. And the other
Yeah,
thing,
it is the 9th,
the
you're
other
right.
thing that's pretty neat,
Oh yeah.
you can find out about this through hevf.org or the Route 66 Cruisers. And I think they still have some tickets, but they're giving away a replica 1904 Columbia Electric
Oh my gosh, that's cool.
to fund improvements to the Route 66 Electric Vehicle Museum.
Demonstration. You can just hop in and start driving.
Yeah, it's a street legal automobile, modern drivetrain, and they had a boat builder out of Port Townsend, Michigan,
Driving down Beale Street.
create the body for this. So this is pretty exciting too. That's also on this evening of the 7th. They're going to have the car here and be giving that away.
Have they finished? I've been kind of watching them fix it up and
They're
everything.
rushing. I talked to Roderick yesterday, and he says it should be ready, all except for the lights. And he says he may end up being working on it down here during Chillum and Beale. to
Oh
get it done.
my gosh, I hope
But they
not.
they
That's
built
cool.
it. Even the lights are going to be. I think they're 110-year-old automobile lamps,
Oh my gosh, that is so neat.
and it'll be perfectly street legal and drivable.
Oh, how fun would that be?
Yeah. And I know that with the festivities of blocking down the street on Saturday,
Morning, Wolfgang.
Savon Bath Treats, they helped me co-sponsor shutting down the street. I believe tourism helped with the other part of that because they wanted to really make it an event where people can be really walking around without worrying about getting hit by a
I
car.
love that.
And I know that there's always been kind of controversy with it. Does that help? Does it hurt when you shut down the street? And I think that when you have a big event like this, it definitely helps. I think that as the businesses start seeing these events come to town, more participants, they start realizing that when people can get around and walk around, the downtown area, they do gander into the shops and get a coffee or get a beer or check out the antiques or the soaps.
When you have those huge events and cars and things, if you don't close the street, really the only people that benefit are attorneys with litigation because
Right.
somebody's going to get run over, or something's going to happen. So
Yeah.
that's no good.
Yeah. And that was a perfect example on the Annie Devine days. I went down every day that was blocked off because it was so fun.
Oh, yeah.
And the kids we were
They
just
love it.
talking about, in Denver, they have a whole, they call it the Ped Mall or whatever, but it's a whole block of
Just walking.
yeah, only buses that take people. And I'm telling you, the restaurants have sprawled out so that now they have seating on the sidewalks and bands play, and I had that feeling here. It was so cool. I was like,
No problem, Scott.
do you think it would wear off if it was like every weekend?
No, not at all.
No, yeah.
Because
Look at Havasu. They have a little over. I was just in a board meeting down at the Chamber of Commerce on Bullhead, and we were talking about what Havasu is doing in tourism, and they have over I think it's 112 events per year, like big events. That's one every 3 days.
Oh my gosh.
So, you know, they're not necessarily shutting down downtown, but that just gives you kind of an idea of what you can be doing.
And I pick on the people in Havasu because they, you know, they don't live in hell, but you can see it from there. And it's
summer's a little warm.
But it's Kingman has so much to offer. 66, the tourism things. We could be doing events of different kinds. What if we put together an all-electric vehicle get-together here, tied into the Electric Vehicle Museum?
That'd be
We're so close to California. We're so close to.
There's so many different things that could be done. And
let's do it.
We have a power station, a recharge Tesla station right over here.
You can reach out. We have, if you have an antique car, like you know, a 1920 or 30 car, where can you drive without getting run over? Right here, we have 160 miles of Route 66.
Can they make any car an electric car?
That's right.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh my god.
Yeah, in fact, there's Neil Young, the singer. I haven't followed up on his project, but he was working on making a 1959 Lincoln a fully electric automobile.
Roderick converted a postal van
into a racing
drag car.
There's a fellow, John Whalen, that's associated with the Historic Electric Vehicle Foundation. He's got a street legal 1974 Datsun.
Oh, that'd be cool.
It looks totally original except for the wheels. And he races it at the Portland Speedway, and he just set some sort of a record, 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds.
Oh my gosh. I want a Volkswagen Beetle convertible.
Oh my God, that's a good idea.
That's my dream car.
Beetle.
That was my first, well, it wasn't convertible, that was my first car.
Yeah. The motor in the front. Or, no, in the back. Trunk in the front.
And if anybody, you know, speaking of events, one more. This one's not quite in Kingman, a little ways from Kingman.
Ooh, that looks cool.
But next year, if anybody's really interested in adventure, Zlin, Czechoslovakia, the Czech Republic, there's a second European Route 66 festival. And I just had breakfast the other morning with Zenik, and we were talking about this. It's really shaping up to be quite an event, with possibly people from the German Association, the Dutch, and maybe some folks from the United States showing up.
That's the coolest poster too.
Well, we'll get to make sure you take that with you for your new store.
Yes! Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
I would love that!
All the way from the Czech Republic.
Yay! That's where some of my ancestors are from.
And Steve is with My Marketing Designs and behind the Promote Kingman Initiative and several other projects he finds to keep himself busy. And you've got a few things, surprises to you.
Yeah, I have two today. The first one is, let me get my open on my phone.
That way.
Oh, I don't have the open.
Well, I gave it to Scott last night.
Oh, that's right. First thing is that episode 2 is out. This is the documentary series Jim Hinckley's America, Trek Along Route 66. This one is titled Roadside Attractions, Oddities, and Curiosities. It focuses on Grand Canyon Caverns 2, Giganticus Heticus, which is now called the Antares Point Route 66 Visitor Center. Really trying to make a hub and part of the strip here so people stop and have more reasons why to get out of their car and actually not just do the drive-by picture taking that we hear happens a lot. So really focusing on that. We have a lot of cool interviews with the business owners along that, including John McNulty, Greg Arnold. We have a photographer who has some amazing photos along Route 66. He was a trained military photographer. He went to, I think it was Syracuse University for photojournalism through the military, and now he, although still semi-active duty, he still travels it and takes pictures, and he's putting together a coffee table style book, which is from Chicago to California on Route 66, and it's the 66 icons of Route 66. So we have an interview with him talking about, you know, what he can do as a photographer to help people who are semi-amateur type photographers kind of hone in their skills, and he's going to try to hub his whole kind of operation at the Grand Canyon Caverns. As somebody who travels it so frequently like he does, he says that this is his favorite area out of the entire 20, how many miles is it again? 28? No, 24. 2,400 miles, Route 66.
Well, it depends, yeah. Depends
on who you ask, I guess.
And
but,
which way you turn.
Yeah, he says this is the most scenic. You know, you have everything from, you know, the buttes of Arizona to, you know, the Walpi Mountains to even up where the Grand Canyon Caverns are, the altitude's a little bit higher. You got more plants and shrubs and bushes and trees, and of course the underground stuff in the caverns, and then the Grand Canyon itself. So, so it's a really cool documentary. It's 33 minutes long. And it's the first one, if people don't know about it, was about Kingman, just Kingman in general. And then the last one is going to be from Seligman to Kingman, which is what we call the first 80 of 160 miles of Smile. So it's kind of the first portion of the largest uninterrupted section. Yeah, we split. We were going to do the whole thing. We're like, there's so much to talk about. Just the first 80 miles. So, so that's out now officially. It will be on sale on JimHinckley'sAmerica.com, PromoteKingman.com, and then also at the current locations where episode 1 is, such as where we are, Calico's, I think Rutherford's, there's probably...
Wyoming Museum of History and Arts.
Yeah, there's about, Southwest Trading had some, all the way out east.
Auto Books, Aero Books in Burbank.
West and east.
Mother Road, Route 66 Museum with Deb Hodkins out in Barstow.
Yeah. We have
Jack Rabbit Trading Post.
Yeah, TP Curious and Tucumcari. So we have, and we also have Greg Gazniak of Zach's LLCs, which is a gift item, Route 66 gift items. He's traveling up and down Route 66, kind of getting these to distribution points.
Oh, nice.
Which is pretty neat because it's focusing so close to where we are. So that is out. You can see the trailer also on our Facebook page if you're curious about it. So we have those. That is secret number 1.
Can I tell you my experience of this wonderful documentary?
Yes.
Real quick?
And you were there for our premiere.
Yeah, so you guys did the premiere at Beale Celebrations, and this is the most heartwarming video.
Isn't it nice?
It just gave me all the feels. It was so good. I love the intimate interviews, and it makes me want to go to all these places.
Yep.
And the photographer is amazing.
Yeah, that friend's
I cannot wait to have that coffee table book.
Yeah.
And I mean, his story is so cool. Like, talk about a guy that just wants to give back to the photography community. And oh man, the caverns, the story about the caverns, it was so good. I cannot wait to go there and eat a piece of pie.
And the relationship with Hoover Dam. And
bring Riley along and we'll do a caverns tour and lunch.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
I'm gonna be in a yoga training. See, this weekend there's so much going on.
Efren is really something. He's a military trained photographer, and he was in combat overseas, and had some post-traumatic problems, and he's created some great documentaries on behalf of the Veterans Administration for veterans. And part of his photography situation is he wants to bring veterans in to use this because that helped him so much.
I love that.
Yeah.
So he's pretty interesting fellow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He has when you look at his pictures, he focuses on something close up, and then you see all this beauty behind it. I mean, I just love his eye. It is so neat to look at his pictures.
There's always been, people used to have discussions whether photography was art. Well, Efren crosses that line. His work is art.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's so beautiful.
Steve, you got one more?
Yeah, so that was announcement number 1. So number 2, and it's something that I leaked on Promote Kingman a couple days ago, saying that we're announcing it Friday, which is today for this program.
Nice.
It is called PK Disrupt. Now, for those that are in the marketing world, disruptive advertising and marketing is a really crucial thing, because what it does is it changes what people consider to be kind of the standard of the way that people operate. So advertising and marketing have always been the same channels for a long time, and then the internet came out and it starts to evolve. Social media comes out, that starts to evolve, and some people either have adapted and adopted those new channels of marketing, and some haven't. So when you change the course of normalness or standard of operating, it's called a disruption. It changes the game because it also enhances the competition. It gets people to start thinking outside the box. And I think that that's something that Promote Kingman has really been trying to do. These documentaries are kind of an example of trying to cross the threshold of myopic Route 66 to opening up the scope to younger people, making it more interesting, getting them interested in history and the importance of the road. So what we're doing as part of PK Disrupt is something that nobody's ever done in Kingman or Mojave County or Arizona. There's been one company, a little company called Google, that did this a few years back, and they were a little early to the game as they usually are. They have really talented people that are always thinking outside the box, like they're paid to do that. And we are going to do it now here locally, and we're going to be starting with every single business in Kingman has the opportunity to get a free $600 value bronze membership to Promote Kingman, which will include a custom domain name. So if you own Southwest Trading Co., southwesttradingco.com, an entire landing page, and here's an example of the landing page. So I can just switch here. Of course not, because I'm on the camera. And it's basically, oh, we're just going to have to look at it this way, I guess. It's going to be a complete landing page, which I had talked to you about at one point. Well, we decided to do something that would push people off the fence. Okay, so small businesses have small budgets, usually, but they all, as we know, need a digital presence. They got to be online, certainly with the amount of tourists that come through here. So we are now going to offer a completely free landing page, a free domain name, all designed, no cost. It's going to be the one partnership that you can get that's going to disrupt every single traditional channel because nobody's willing to do it for free.
Wow.
And it's something that that's going to take time on our behalf. But as people know from what we do a lot of things that are community based, and this will only elevate all of the opportunities in Kingman. So as somebody that owns businesses in Kingman, as Kingman thrives, so will my businesses, and so it'll come back at some point. And then the people that can't afford a website, the small businesses that have wanted one or they've tried it in the past, now they don't have an excuse not to have one. And so when people are coming through Kingman, and some statistics as we've grown Promote Kingman that I've looked at are, what do these international people do on their phones when they come through? And mobile web usage is number one. They're always trying to find Wi-Fi hotspots. International cellular companies are getting agreements with US cellular companies to give free data roaming. Okay, so like if you have, let's say, T-Mobile or Metro PCS and you want to go to Germany, you don't have to pay to use your phone now. And the agreement is that when German Vodafone users or Deutsche Telekom or T-Mobile users come over here, they don't have to use it here. They have a cooperative agreement where you can use the phone in both countries. So this gives opportunity when someone's searching something out, they can find you.
Wow.
Nobody's done anything like this. This is the biggest value you can get. $600 a year is what we normally would charge, and it's going to be completely for free.
Oh my gosh.
So we're hoping, we're hoping that makes a big difference in the community. Imagine every single small business, which in Kingman or just in Arizona, it's like 46% don't have websites.
And most of the websites, I joke about this a lot, but I really am modern Amish, and I'm amazed at how antiquated some of the websites are. Another one that surprises me is how everybody, some folks here have jumped really on the app thing. Right. And from what I can see, in my limited knowledge, the apps are almost like QR codes. They're antiquated already. And I have yet to encounter any of the foreign travelers who are spending time looking for apps. But they are looking for things like TripAdvisor for websites. And
they're still using Google search, which is, Amazon Alexa, Siri. Those are all voice-based search type things. And they do pull app data as they are pulling the information from the search, but they're landing first on URLs, web addresses. And that's why the foreign travelers, when I was doing the marketing at the Ramada, a big focus was how do we reach these people?
Yeah.
And it's not app-based. In fact, the majority of internet users who come over from overseas are first doing research on travel sites, websites, the Travagos and the Travelocity type sites, and then when they get here, they're doing Google searches and doing mobile web page viewing. They're not using an app to help them in their travels. They're using Google searches, and it's because Google has gotten so good at doing geolocation caching, so it knows where you are, so it's giving you relevant results based on your location that changes as you travel, versus an app might be biased. And people don't like to use an app that they think might be biased and non-objective in giving you results. Because if you go on an app, an example would be, let's just say there's an app that's a Kingman app, and you click restaurants, and you get 3.
Yeah.
We have more than 3 restaurants, right?
Yeah.
So the only unbiased result really is going to Google or asking Siri, where's a good restaurant in the area, and reading results. So the businesses in Kingman should all have websites, and there's always a reason why they don't. It's usually monetary. It's either ignorance, like they're just ignorant to it. They're not educated on it. They're great at making donuts. They have no idea about internet stuff. Or they think it's expensive, or it is expensive to them. So we're trying to just like break down these barriers, because there's so many people that come through here, and to know that there's little shops on every corner, just in this downtown and throughout Kingman, they're not getting found. Is like heartbreaking as somebody who manages websites. So we're doing that. We're launching it. It's going to be officially launched. I think we decided midnight on Sunday. As soon as Sunday hits, basically there's going to be a form on Promote Kingman where businesses can go on there. I think there's going to be 5 questions and opportunities to upload pictures, and we're going to start doing the first 5 websites. We're going to do 5 websites at a time. So first come, first serve. So everybody pay attention to our Facebook page. As soon as that form is live, they can go right on there, register. We'll get a domain. No hosting, no domain registration, no fees, no nothing. Just give us the information. We'll create a web page, landing page like this. I finally got it to flip. It looks a better landscape like this.
Oh my God.
So contact forms about your businesses, services that you offer, pictures that you want to have on there, logos that you have on there, and a custom domain. This one's just a staging site, but it'll be whatever domain's available for your business. You won't have to pay for it.
Basically, it looks like it's almost like an electronic chamber of commerce. A 21st century chamber of commerce. Yeah, as somebody that's on the board for, exactly. I'm on the board for the chamber down in Bullhead, and every organization has a great purpose and a reach that they can do. They're good at what they're good at, and they somehow, and sometimes they have areas where they can't accommodate. And one thing that we're trying to do is we're trying to break that barrier down. And if the Chamber of Commerce can't go digital and non-traditional, we're going to help fill that void, amplify what they're doing, but at the same time give the businesses an opportunity to get something.
Wow.
The whole idea, one reason I got involved is Promote Kingman. I really liked the idea from the inception, that the idea wasn't to dictate or override any of the organizations, but it was to magnify everything that they're doing, all their initiatives. It was to magnify those initiatives. And through that, to build a sense of community and community purpose. And that's crucial for moving things forward here. Blue Miller, she just mentioned that she's a regular foreign traveler and she never uses apps.
There you go. And when I was at the Ramada, there was a huge study done with Asian travelers. And it was actually done through, what travel company is that? Not Priceline. I can't remember what it's called. It's a huge one that they get a lot of bookings through. A lot of the hotels do. And it was all about mobile web usage, not app-based. And that was a big focus from this particular travel company. Was these big travel companies, Travago, Travelocity, Orbitz. I wish I could remember the one. I can't believe I can't remember. It's like blue and white. They spend a lot of money on the apps because they want you to download it, install it. They want to have pop-up notifications going off at certain times. But they realized that having this great app didn't do anything. It was the search results and the mobile web usage, which was climbing in Asia. And they were all doing research on their phones on mobile web searches, and when they got here, mobile web searches. They weren't using one app to dictate kind of their travel plans, and so that's a big thing, and so that's what we're trying to push for.
The other situation, Steve did this through My Marketing Designs, and we were having a conversation recently. We won't throw names out.
Booking.com.
But you had
Sorry, I'm not sitting here calling what the hell is it? Booking.com, number one, number one reservation, third-party reservation company in the world, Booking.com. I met with a rep that handles this entire section of the United States, and he was talking about their statistics. And I went to a presentation up in Flagstaff about how are the travelers finding you.
Wow.
And it's all mobile search, mobile web search. Just searching you out, reading reviews on different sites, the Yelps and these other ones, and then going to the actual site when they're ready to book, or seeing the Booking.com discount and clicking on that, not app-based. Sorry.
Nice.
No, I was just going to say, I had an interesting conversation. Marketing has always been fascinating to me. I collect early automotive advertisements, and I've written a lot, and it's always intrigued me how, at the turn of the century, at the turn of the last century, how do you sell somebody on the idea of buying an automobile that you can't buy gas for, there's no roads to drive it on, and it costs as much as a house? How do you sell something like that?
Yeah.
And they did it successfully. So marketing's always been interesting to me.
Yeah.
Steve mentioned that we won't throw names out, but he had a client that's pretty much realized that traditional marketing is basically a big money flush.
Yeah, I had a really large client, one of my largest ones, the longest probably, I think it is the longest client I've had since I moved to Arizona for 4 years. And they were spending a fortune in traditional ads, everything from billboards to every newspaper in the area, to every value discount one. And they started to re-look their strategy as I redid their website, and they were actually proud of their website at that point.
Yeah.
And they really liked people going to their website. And they started realizing that it's actually more important to drive people to your website than it is to drive it to other places. Like, why would you drive them to your Facebook page when you can't really control what's on your Facebook page other than your feed? You can't control. What if Facebook decides to change stuff? They're in control. And they started getting a lot of good feedback from their website, a lot of people going on there and submitting for service. And then they realized, you know what? Maybe we need to start thinking about the digital strategy and using online advertising and social media advertising. And they started to literally, and this is happening worldwide, all businesses, or most large or medium-sized businesses, have a budget. And it was always traditional, and then the internet came out, and some started to do that. It's getting almost even now. They're realizing that the money needs to be shared between the two, which is when we talk about, we're trying to disrupt but amplify traditional, but also give options for non-traditional, because this bucket has to change. The businesses and the companies and the organizations that stay only on one side of it, as their competition starts to rise, their digital advertising and reaching the people that they've been trying to reach in a different way, they start to lose business. So that you got to stay competitive, and so that one particular company dropped their monthly spend by, I think it was like $2,000 to $3,000 a month in traditional advertising, and went down to like $500-600 a month in digital, and aren't getting the same results.
That's awesome.
So it is definitely,
I love that you are leveling the playing field
We're trying
for people like that, and like you said, everybody's got to just step up their game. It just makes it makes our community more awesome.
You want people to find us. You want people to drive you through that originally had a 30-minute stop planned to be sitting on their bus, about to go use the restroom and get a drink. And you want them to be like, what's the deal in the area anyway? And you want them to find, and then like, oh my gosh, there's a brewery right down the street. I'm gonna hop out and go do that.
We've got a couple questions here.
It's amazing.
Barb Sharon wanted to know, she said she missed the big announcement, and it is that Promote Kingman's going to be offering a free website program, and information will be on Promote Kingman. That'll be going live Sunday night at midnight. And the other one is that we have a new proprietor at Southwest Trading Company. And she's looking for local jewelers and craft people.
Any local artisans. See, this is why I love you guys, because everything that you're doing, I want to do that in a little shop. I want local artists to sell their crafts. I'm trying to be really creative to not sell things that are already in shops. Like
Right.
for instance, I'm not gonna do soap. We have
Right.
a wonderful soap shop just down the street, and I can go, oh, you're looking for shabby chic country style furniture or craft
Right.
classes, go to Farmhouse. If
Right.
you're looking for soap, we have an amazing soap maker right down the street, you know?
We're starting to see-
Complementative businesses that complement each other. In
Yeah.
We're starting to see, and you mentioned the farmhouse, you know, with her classes and things, and I talked to Barb about this a while back. She's starting to attract people now from Bullhead City and Havasu. And another one, Michael Kitchen has asked, would PK Disrupt be available to nonprofit clubs? We would like to see more attention to off-road activities through Kingman dual sport riders, Wallaby four-wheelers.
Yep.
Cool.
And even people. I thought of that as I was talking to Scott McCoy, who's a local person, has a couple businesses, but he also does a lot of stuff as just community service stuff. If somebody wants a personal page to either talk about their interest and what they're doing to the for the community and how to get people involved, then we can put up a personal page. SarahLove.com. That type of stuff where people can get involved, because a lot of people have a lot of friends, maybe they're retired and they don't have a business, but they still want to get involved. They want more than just a Facebook page. When you're looking for a business, when you're traveling, you don't go to Facebook to search. It's something that Facebook wants you to do, and they're trying their darndest to get people to use them as a search engine, but they're not. Tourists won't do it, they don't do it. Now, when somebody gets to your business, they might check you out on Facebook and see what your reviews are, what your posts are. So people can get more involvement from people outside of their normal circles by having a website, not just a Facebook
Well, and
page.
the other thing, but with Facebook, the thing is, once you have a website, a lot of it is discussions with people.
Yeah.
People sharing with their friends, with their groups, and talking about their experiences and things. And this is why it's so important for businesses and communities to have an online presence and a physical presence and be welcoming, because it's
Very much.
instantaneous now. If you're rude to a customer, the people in Germany know about it before you close the till. So it's real important to have that awareness.
And it's really going to do a lot. And it's what's so important about it is that the balance of communities that have a lot of websites with a lot of linking compared to ones that don't. An example would be, there's so many tourists that drive through here who are searching for, as we know, Grand Canyon, Las Vegas. That's part of their destinations. When you go out to Las Vegas and you start looking at websites, they're all very competitive. They're not working together. And it's one thing that that people should know about the PK Disrupt is these landing pages are all going to be linking back to Promote Kingman. So there's going to be a web address, Promote Kingman, to them and from them. And it's going to create this enormous backlink structure. It's probably the largest backlink structure you can get, other than like a large newspaper. You can actually do like a website analysis, which tells you how many backlinks are on a website. And there's a company called Alexa. It's not an Amazon company, but it's a company called Alexa, A-L-E-X-A. You can put in a URL and it will tell you how many backlinks. Now, a backlink, again, is really important. It is my website to his, and his website linked back to mine. That means that we have agreement that we approve of each other's websites. It's not just a one-way road. And having backlink structure is the #1 search engine optimization strategy you can do in the entire planet, and it's the strongest thing you can do, because it shows that you have good reputation and that the value of what you're offering on your website is important. And so what we're doing is we're creating this web, and we tried to launch it out, 8 months ago. And it didn't get traction, I think, because people didn't understand it, and they thought that maybe it was expensive and the amount of time it's going to take to do it. So over the last few months, we've tried to think, how can we make this easier? And now, as of Sunday, it's a form. Your name, your business name, about you, about your business services you offer, your contact information, and send us a bunch of pictures.
Wow.
And it's going to be, there's no easier way to do it, and we're going to have the largest backlink structure you can possibly have of a community of our size, which means that when these tourists are looking for Grand Canyon, when they're looking for Las Vegas, they're going to see us in the results if they're anywhere near here. Us talking about Las Vegas, us talking about Grand Canyon. And
So
they're
it's
driving
going to be
truck.
real important, though, since you're a one-man railroad, that people don't require babysitting. That they're
No
going to have to
babysitting.
take. They're going to have to take the
Fill out a form.
responsibility to do
Yeah.
it, you know, supply the information.
Right. That was actually the
Do the work.
concern.
Yeah.
So we're simplifying it. One form, pictures, done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm thinking is going to be amazing for our community is, this is what I would think if I went to the community and I was looking for things to do and I got on. Every single website is going to be that quality.
Right.
You know, because we all know you get on these websites and it's just super hard to navigate and there's funky things that don't
And
work.
a lot of them are so antiquated, they're not mobile friendly.
Yes, and every one you go to is going to be beautiful.
All the
and
contact information is going to be accurate. There's going to be a form if someone has questions. They fill it out. It emails you directly with a question, what it is, with their email, with their contact.
Nice.
It's gonna be the way it's supposed to be, and there's no more excuses. Every business in Kingman should have this. If it's free and it's available and it's not going to cost them anything, there's no excuse. There's no reason not to have it.
Yeah.
And so it'll be cool knowing that every business you walk in the next 6 months, they'll have a website.
Yeah.
They'll have their contact information. You'll know what they do for a business. That you know that tourists can find them.
Yeah.
And it's going to help elevate all that. What do you got? More questions?
Yeah, Teresa Marino asked, she said, I may have missed this, but how are travelers going to know about the Promote Kingman website?
It's the backlinking structure is what creates this SEO relevance. So when you have, let's just say in 6 months, we have 100 new websites. They're all linking to Promote Kingman. Promote Kingman is linking to them. When a tourist that's leaving Williams and they're planning out their trip, they're on the bus, maybe the tour guide is on the bus and they've already got their agenda of what they're doing, but they know they have to stop in Kingman. And they're looking up restaurants near possibly the gas location or the diesel stop. And they're looking it up and they're seeing what's nearby. Now all of a sudden, the 2 other restaurants that are in downtown that don't have websites, or the 3 other antique shops that talk about local restaurants near their antique shop, show up in the results. Now all of a sudden, these people that are sitting on the bus that know that they're dieseling up in Kingman in an hour or 2, and that they're going to stop for a quick lunch break, and they're looking at that place nearby, and they're seeing, oh look, there's an antique place, there's all these things, oh there's Promote Kingman site, oh there's a brewery website, oh there's US Southwest Trading Co. And they're going to see this, and they're going to click on it, and they're going to see the products you offer, they're going to see your hours of operation, knowing that you're open or not open, and they're going to want to go to those. So that's the idea of that. So that's how they'll find
And then
us.
you'll have the Promote Kingman link where they can click on that and that'll go back to you.
Yes.
The Promote Kingman is going to, of course, that's for ordering the DVDs, the walking tours, everything's being done through them.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we're refacing a little bit of the website, making it a little bit more kind of tourist based. So when you land on the page, it's going to be more imagery right away of what they can do in the area. A lot of times communities, there's one thing that when I redid the Chamber of Commerce website in Bullhead 2 years ago or 3 years ago, one thing that we did was stop talking about just ourselves.
Yeah.
People want to do more than just what you can do in one place. They want to know what's nearby. When people are moving their families or traveling on vacation, they want to know what there is to do in the area, not just within 5
Greg,
minutes.
I hope you're feeling better.
Maybe 1 hour. You know. And so we're again enlarging the scope, and we're talking about everything to do. I mean, think how cool it is where we live. We live in this triangle of Kingman, Bullhead, and Havasu, all with very similar clients but different, different things to do. You got the London Bridge, like people understand there's only 2 of those in the entire planet, and we have one of them here nearby, an hour away, that is on a lake that is one of the most popular spring break destinations in the entire country. And then we have the Colorado River, not that far. Then we have the Wallabies. We have a climate here that is beautiful year-round, including snow and Grand Canyon access. So we're in this really neat spot, and when you look up search results and how many people are searching for the things that we have in our area, we're talking to the tune of like hundreds of thousands a month. People searching for the things that we have, and if we don't have relevance, they're going to find them on the other end of the scope, in the northern part of the Grand Canyon. They're not going to find Grand Canyon West. So we're trying to create that relevance so that we get those results. People start. We can't change a tour tomorrow, but we can change it for next year, and we can change hundreds of tours next year if we start working on it hard now.
Well, the European situation, a lot of these people are already planning their 2019 trips.
Yeah.
So we've already, as far as really hammering on internationals for 2018, that's done.
Yeah.
And we've had a severe drop, over 30% drop in international tourism in the last 18 months for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah.
But there again, Kingman is in a very unique position, because if you put a dot in Kingman and figure 400 miles, there's more than 10 million people that we can draw to Kingman for all kinds of varieties of reasons. So we got a lot of exciting things going on. And I'm really excited to see this take off, Steve. I really am.
Are you going to be the first website?
Yeah, I am. Sign me up.
Yeah, I'll put you in front of the list.
I'll sign me up. I have a really random question. How can we get a passenger train ride to the Grand Canyon from Kingman?
We have one.
We do? Why don't we promote that? I mean, that's William's big thing,
Amtrak runs, comes through here twice a day.
Yeah.
And it's the same train that...
Yeah, they stop in...
See, I don't even know that, and I live here.
They stop in, as far as I know, Amtrak does stop in Flagstaff, and I believe Grand Canyon Railway has a shuttle service from Flagstaff to Williams.
That would be the coolest ride, I think.
That's another market we haven't really tapped into much, is Amtrak. It's 36 hours from here to Chicago. You don't have to change trains, anything. It's like a giant slumber party for 200 people you've never met.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
It's entertainment.
Yeah.
It is entertainment. Now, got a couple other things real quick we'll get to. I am going to be on the road. One of the things I started doing through the Patrons program. The Patrons program and Promote Kingman are the big sponsors for this program. But I started this Patrons program, and you can find information on Jim Hinckley's America. But I wrote a book on the evolution of the taxi industry, and it's pretty colorful and pretty violent. It really, some of it makes the stuff you read about prohibition, gang wars, it makes it look like a church picnic. And I decided, instead of publishing this, I would offer it to patrons, people who support the program and whatnot, a chapter every month.
Wow.
And the whole history of the taxi industry. And it gets pretty deep and pretty interesting.
Explain what Patrons is, because I've heard you talk about it during the presentations or the Facebook Lives a couple times, but a lot of people I don't think really understand what it is. It was actually something that he showed me maybe a couple months ago. It's really interesting. It's a way...
It's crowdfunding is the best way to put it, and it worked for William Shakespeare. Yep. That's what got me started. I started reading about this and trying to figure out how we can provide these community services. And we've had some sponsors with different programs, but to get people involved, how they can support this for $5, $10, $15, $20 a month. And Patrons is basically, it used to be like with Shakespeare, he had patrons, people who would sponsor his work so he could focus on his development, his work. And basically give them a source of pride that they were part of this.
Yeah.
And so I set up this Patrons program, and had a pretty good response with it, but it helps fund some of these, and we want to use it to fund and develop these video series further. We want to do Facebook Live programs from businesses, and we're doing it at Chillin' on Beale, different events.
So anybody can get involved in it. You can, I mean, as he said, you can do it as little as a few dollars a month, and knowing that you're helping to contribute to what we're doing and what he's doing, and also he's going to give exclusive content that he's not putting out on any other platform other than Patrons. And when you sponsor it, you get your own login to the site, and then you can access this exclusive content. And we're expanding on that in some really cool ways, and some of the stuff we're going to start doing pretty shortly, actually, now that this is wrapped up finally, as we're getting ready to start editing the third one, is we're going to start having exclusive micro videos of the really interesting, intriguing, and crazy things of Kingman. Doing the underground tours and the places that are abandoned buildings and the historical landmarks that nobody knows anything about. And we're going to do these videos, and we're going to make sure that they're exclusive to the patrons. So the patrons really are getting something that they would have never seen before. But because they're helping sponsor this, we're going to give them something that only they can have access to, which is kind of cool. The tunnels, Kingman tunnels, everybody talks about it, and I keep on, pushing him to like, I want to get down there with a camera and a flashlight.
We started supplying some of these videos though. We did one was on the for the patrons program, the basement of the Mojave Museum of History and Arts. There's storage and archives, and it's on the patrons page. Kind of a great preview of what's down there.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. And I will be on the road the 13th through the 28th. And I'll have the schedule on Jim Hinckley's American. And be in Albuquerque on the 13th and Las Vegas on the 14th. The original Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Which is really neat.
And Shamrock, Texas, Tulsa, Cuba, Missouri, St. Louis, Springfield, Illinois. I'm going to the Miles of Possibilities Conference in Joliet, speaking on 120 years of Kingman tourism, 1900 to 2020.
Oh, wow.
Kingman's tourism past and future. And I'll be speaking at the Miles of Possibilities Conference, and I'd like to thank Scott McCoy, the Route 66 Association, and the folks who have contributed to do that.
And these are all opportunities. Yeah. If you're a business in Kingman and you're listening, you're watching this, and you're hearing what he's saying, you can get involved. You can sponsor his trips, and he can hand out your brochures and your business cards at these events.
Wow.
Which is something that's really, really important for people to understand that networking is what we're doing. We're networking to different countries, states, communities, and this is, I don't have time to go to do all these places. Yeah. And Jim is making the time, and so if you can get involved in that way, it's huge. Having soap from Kingman, Arizona in Chicago is pretty neat.
One of the things that we overlook, and we have so many advantages by being in Route 66. Route 66 is a linear community, or as I said in a new book this year, America's longest small town. And it's an international community. And so as a result, we have incredible marketing opportunities. A lot of these communities are willing to work with us, exchange promotional materials, to get involved. As Steve and I went and spoke in Tucumcari, New Mexico. These communities want to help market this. This morning, this program, like I say, with the patrons make this possible. We've been talking to Wolfgang in Germany. We've got Johan from the Netherlands. We're reaching the world here. So it's really a neat situation. Hey, do we have any parting thoughts, folks, since we've run this up to about an hour?
This reminds me of this book, and there's this woman, Amanda Palmer, and she was kind of a punk rock musician, and I wasn't aware of her music, but this book, she wrote this book about crowdfunding, and she was disrupting the music industry, the way that they run things and how music is bought. And she said, you know what, I'm just going to give my CDs away for free. And then I'm just going to ask you pay what you want for it. Yeah. This was the largest crowdfunding thing, and it completely disrupted the way that things were going on. Right. But this book is all about being able to ask, because that's so hard for us. We give all the time. Yeah. We give so much, but it's really hard to ask, you know? Yeah. So if you guys ever get an opportunity to listen, the audiobook is amazing because she sings her music in between, and it's just like she's a great storyteller. But it's all about this, and it's all about like disrupting. Yeah. I love that. That's so cool.
The world's changing, and either you either try to change with it or try to help the direction in which it changes, or you sit back and don't complain, and you just accept it. And I think that typically in societies and communities, they like to complain about the changes instead of trying to direct the changes. Yeah. And one thing that we're really trying to do is help direct it.
Yeah, in a positive way.
When I talk about this, talk about Kingman a lot, on walking tours and odds and ends. And people ask me, about Kingman changes and things here. And I'm going to be honest, I liked Kingman better 45 years ago. And I really am that old. But I really liked Kingman better 45 years ago. But you know what? It doesn't matter what I like. Yeah. Kingman's going to change whether we want it to or not. Yeah. All we can do is try to control some of the direction, just a little bit because I got to drive. But we can control some of the direction of the change. That's it. Yeah. Guys, I want to thank you for doing this morning. It's been a lot of fun, and looks like we got some exciting projects coming up in
Cool.
Kingman.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun today.
Thank you.
I hope everybody can join us next week, and then starting on the 13th, we'll be doing a few of these on the road. Can't tell you where, but somewhere wherever I'm at eating, we'll be doing that on the road. So thank you folks very much for this today.
Thanks, Greg. We missed you. Hope you feel better.
Your stand-in wasn't as colorful, and he was quiet.
He doesn't tell any good jokes either.
No, yeah.
I don't know if Greg's jokes are good, but they're jokes.
For the ride. I've only heard this 1,000 times. Doing the video editing, you know, I'm just like, yeah, it's like, it's a good song. And they did a heck of a job. They did a really good job.
I love it. It's